So this man was killed because of a mistake made by a god, and now the god is thinking about reincarnating him into another world. The soul says that he wants to go to a world where there is no civilization anywhere nearby. In his previous life, he went through a lot of hardships, so he decides that he wants to live peacefully as a farmer. As soon as the god hears this, he reincarnates him into another world with a healthy body. On top of that, he also gives him an almighty farming tool that can do anything he wants whenever he wants. This anime is going to be absolutely amazing, so make sure to take 10 minutes out of your day and watch it. You're definitely going to have a lot of fun with this anime. So let's begin today's story. At the start of the story, we see a man lying inside a hospital, but suddenly his heartbeat stops and he dies. However, the moment he opens his eyes again, he realizes that he has already been reincarnated into another world. He thinks to himself, "Man, I had that same dream again." Jirian. As soon as he gets up and walks outside, his maid suddenly appears in front of him and says, "I'm sorry, I still haven't prepared breakfast yet." He replies, "Relax, relax, it's completely fine, and stop calling me master." As he continues walking, he suddenly hears a noise coming from the kitchen. When he goes there to check, he sees a maid cooking a red slime. She asks, "Master, should I roast this?" He quickly says, "No, no, don't do that." Then our story's main character, Hiraku, comes outside and starts stretching. He notices that there are two moons in the sky. Right after that, two girls come over and start talking with him. They ask, "You woke up pretty early today." He replies, "I couldn't sleep properly last night, that's all." The girls then ask him what happened, and he says, "I had that same dream again last night, but honestly, it doesn't feel like a dream anymore. It might actually be my past life." After that, we see the village where different species are all working together. Some are farming while children are happily playing around. Looking at all of this, Hiraku thinks, "When I first came into this world, I never imagined I'd be able to achieve all of this." Then the story suddenly shifts into a flashback where we finally learn how Hiraku died. He's standing in front of a god, and the god tells him, "You spent 39 years in your previous world, but you suffered from a disease that could never be cured, and eventually you died." His soul quietly listens as the god continues explaining everything. The god says, "This time I'm going to give you a body that will never suffer from illness, a perfectly healthy body." Then the god tells him something shocking. "You died because of my mistake, and I want to give you a new life. Are you willing to accept it?" Hiraku agrees immediately. The god then asks, "Do you have any requests?" Hiraku replies, "I want to become a farmer and enjoy a peaceful farming life, just like I always wanted. I also want to live somewhere far away from civilization where very few people ever come." The god smiles and says, "All right then. To make up for my mistake, I'll grant your wish. Along with that, I'll also give you an omnipotent farming tool that will be extremely useful for you. Now go and enjoy your new life." The moment Hiraku opens his eyes again, he realizes that he's standing inside a forest. Not only that, but he can also stand properly now, something he was never able to do in his previous life. He happily says, "So I'm finally alive again. Now I can finally do farming, something I've wanted for a very long time. This is going to be fun." When he looks at his clothes, he thinks they look exactly like the clothes worn by villagers inside a video game. Then he remembers, "Oh right, I have that omnipotent farming tool. Let's try using it." In the next moment, a tool suddenly appears in his hand, and he starts digging the ground. He quickly notices that no matter how much he digs, he never feels tired. It doesn't even matter how hard the ground is. This soil is really fluffy. Vegetables should grow easily here. But now that I'm in this world, I need to find food and water too. As he tries listening for the sound of a river, something suddenly runs past him from behind, scaring him badly. "I may have arrived here safely, but monsters could attack me at any time. I need to build a shelter first." As he walks farther ahead, he notices a gigantic tree and thinks it would make a perfect landmark. "All right, I'll stay here." After that, Hiraku desperately searches for water, but no matter how hard he looks, he can't find a well anywhere. Frustrated, he uses his powers to create a shovel. "I can create tools with this power, but I can't make complicated machines." Then, in anger, he starts digging furiously, and after a while, he finally finds water. "Whoa, I found water so quickly. I feel like the gods are helping me." After that, he completely clears out the entire area to make his base. However, one giant tree is still standing there, so he spawns an axe and says, "All right, let me cut this tree down first." But the moment he strikes the tree, it gets sliced down instantly, and Hiraku barely manages to survive. Now he starts using his omnipotent farming skills to create all kinds of tools. These aren't even farming tools anymore. Whatever I imagine, this skill just creates it for me. Before he realizes it, evening arrives. The moment Hiraku notices the sun setting, he panics. "I need a source of light quickly. Then he gets the idea to create fire. He tries using a magnifying glass, but since it's already evening, he fails to light anything. In the end, he carves out space inside the giant tree and starts living there temporarily. He's shocked when he realizes that he can even see clearly at night. Looking at the moon, he quietly says, "I really have come to another world." The next morning, Hiraku successfully starts a fire using the magnifying glass and cleans up the entire area. But after doing so much work, he finally starts feeling exhausted. "Finally, I'm actually feeling tired. And hungry too." At that exact moment, he hears a sound behind him. A rabbit-like monster suddenly attacks him, but Hiraku instantly takes it down with his tool. That night, he cooks it and says happily, "Well, at least food is taken care of for now." After eating, he even builds himself a toilet, which looks incredibly strange. Now this is comfortable. When wind starts blowing on his bread, he quickly builds walls around the area. Yep, now it's perfect. Then he goes back to work again while thinking about what crops he should grow. Potatoes, tomatoes, eggplants, radishes. By the time he's done, evening arrives again, and suddenly he realizes something important. "I built all these huge fields, but I don't even have seeds." Frustrated, he says, "Looks like I'll have to go into the forest tomorrow and collect some seeds." After saying that, he goes to sleep. But the next day, he's completely shocked to discover that plants have already started growing in the fields. So the crops have finally started growing. Now all he has to do is protect them from monsters. He carefully takes care of every plant by watering them and building fences. He even creates a small house for himself. Once all his work is done, he suddenly notices 2 dogs standing nearby. He realizes they're badly injured, but they don't look aggressive at all. So Hiraku helps them and even gives them some meat to eat. For a farmer, having dogs is really important. I'd honestly be happy if these 2 stayed with me. But suddenly the female dog starts feeling sick, while the male dog growls protectively at Hiraku. Hiraku quickly brings both of them into his house, panicking as he wonders how to help them. That night, he sleeps separately from them. But the next morning, he becomes overjoyed after discovering several adorable little puppies. As time passes, all the puppies and the 2 dogs start living there permanently, and they end up loving Hiraku's hut. Because of that, Hiraku builds an even bigger house for everyone. Afterward, he returns to his fields because harvest season has finally arrived. When he tastes one of the tomatoes, he's shocked by how sweet it is. His dogs even hunt food on their own, and when he feeds them vegetables, they happily eat them. As Hiraku continues harvesting crops, he realizes, "I need to build a storage house for all this food. I'll also need furniture and utensils too." And we suddenly see the god again, who says, "I wonder how Hiraku is doing in that world." The god explains that his job is to manage souls, but even gods can make mistakes sometimes. However, he suddenly remembers something horrifying. "Oh no, I made another mistake. I accidentally sent him to the forest of death." Now the god becomes extremely worried because the forest is filled with terrifying monsters. How is Hiraku supposed to survive there with only farming skills? The story then returns to Hiraku, who is happily admiring the vegetables he managed to grow without even using seeds. There are all kinds of vegetables growing there, and Hiraku says, "Whatever vegetable I think about, my almighty tool grows it automatically. Farming has become incredibly easy for me." Suddenly, he notices a tiny plant that everyone is staring at carefully. It turns out to be a soybean plant. He also explains that anything grown using his almighty farming tool grows incredibly fast, but it also spoils quickly. For example, these potatoes. Then he says, "I don't really have much farming experience, but I'll learn from my mistakes. If I pile too much soil on top, the potatoes won't be able to come out." He even creates statues of the gods. After that, Hiraku walks farther away from his house to try something new. There, he plants fruit trees so he can eventually grow sweet fruits. Then he starts playing with his dogs and thinks to himself, "If these dogs weren't here with me, I probably would have become really lonely." But suddenly he notices something strange. One of the dogs has a horn on its head, and Hiraku starts wondering, maybe in this world, dogs naturally have horns on their heads. While wandering around with the dogs, Hiraku finally discovers a river nearby. He immediately starts thinking about bringing the water all the way to his house, but for that to happen, he would need to keep digging non-stop for almost 30 minutes. And there we go, another toilet has officially been completed. After that, Hiraku gets back to work once again. But while moving forward with his cart, one of the wheels suddenly gets stuck inside a hole, causing him to fly through the air and crash far away. I think fixing the roads should probably be my first priority. After returning home, he starts wondering whether he should grow oil seeds first or wheat so he can make oil and flour. As time passes, several seasons go by, and eventually winter arrives. The moment Hiraku notices how cold it has become, he says, "There's no way I can survive this winter wearing these clothes. I need to prepare something warm." so he ends up using the body of a giant rabbit to cover himself. Unfortunately, it smells absolutely terrible. Ugh, disgusting. At that moment, one of his dogs arrives and leads him somewhere. There, Hiraku discovers a giant spider that gives him a handkerchief made from silk, and he instantly falls in love with its quality. That's when he learns that the spider has started living on the giant tree nearby and is actually capable of making excellent clothes. The moment Hiraku hears that, he immediately starts assigning all kinds of work to the spider and gives her the name Zabuton. And just like that, winter officially begins. Thankfully, Hiraku had already prepared everything ahead of time. While eating hot potatoes, he suddenly starts feeling lonely. It's been such a long time since I've talked to another person. At this rate, I might actually forget how to speak. In the next scene, winter finally passes and spring arrives. All the puppies have now grown up and leave to begin their own journeys. Zabuton also comes down from the tree, but this time she brings along a huge number of babies with her. Looking at all of them, Hiraku gets shocked. Everyone's families keep getting bigger and bigger. And I'm the only lonely guy here. While he's working in the fields again, Zabuton suddenly rings the danger bell. As soon as Hiraku rushes over, he sees a small girl surrounded by creatures bothering her. Please help me. The moment Hiraku steps forward to help her, she suddenly bites him hard and instantly transforms into a grown woman. But right after that, all of Hiraku's pets start attacking her. Whoa, calm down. Then suddenly the girl shrinks back into a child again. Hiraku asks, "Why did you drink my blood?" "What was I supposed to do? I couldn't control myself." She then explains her entire story and reveals that she drank his blood to regain her strength, but now she has become a child again because the effect wore off. Hiraku tells her, "You can drink my blood again." The moment she does, she transforms back into an adult. After that, Hiraku takes her to the fields. Hey, it's not what you're thinking. The girl also ends up loving the fields, and when Hiraku finds out that she has never eaten a tomato before, he offers her one. The moment she tastes it, she absolutely loves it and starts praising Hiraku. Hearing her compliments makes Hiraku ridiculously happy. As they continue spending time together, night eventually falls, and both of them return home. But suddenly, Hiraku notices that the girl is using magic, which completely shocks him. That's when the truth is revealed. The girl is actually a vampire named Lu. She explains that she had come to the forest to research medicinal plants, but after fighting against nobles, she ended up in terrible condition. Then she tells Hiraku about the terrifying reputation of this forest, leaving him completely stunned. Wait, this place actually has a reputation? You didn't know that? By the way, you can use magic too, right? Maybe? Then Hiraku suddenly asks her, "Would you stay here with me?" Lu replies, "Well, while I'm continuing my research, I suppose I can stay here temporarily." Hiraku immediately responds, "No, I mean forever." Wait, what are you saying? Lu tries explaining that she's a vampire and countless people are after her, but Hiraku says none of that matters to him. "I'm not very good at talking with people. That's why I've been living here all alone, so please, stay with me." Lu gets surprised and says, "I can't believe you suddenly proposed to me." Hiraku gets confused. Wait, I proposed? When did that happen? Then he realizes what she meant. Oh, right. I guess I did propose to you, so please stay here. And in the end, Lu agrees and decides to remain there with him. The next morning, when they greet each other with good morning, Hiraku becomes incredibly happy. Lu asks him, "So what's your plan now?" Hiraku replies, "I'm planning to grow a lot of sweet potatoes because there are way more mouths to feed now. That should help with food supplies too." Then he proudly explains that many people are already part of their village now. My dogs, their puppies, Zabuton, her children, and you're the 30th member. Hearing that makes Lu really happy. Then she asks, "Can we grow medicinal herbs in the fields too?" "Yeah, we can definitely try." In the next scene, we see a mysterious woman sitting inside a restaurant saying, "I need to go to the Forest of Death." The people there respond, "I don't know why everyone wants to go there these days. Honestly, you should just give up." Meanwhile, back at the village, Lu comes outside and Hiraku happily says that she has helped him a lot. "She even installed lights inside my bathroom." While eating, Lu asks him, "Don't you use salt in your food?" Hiraku replies, "I've been trying to find salt for a really long time, but I still haven't found any." Lu points somewhere and says, "Look over there, that's salt. We can dissolve it and boil it to make proper salt." After that, the two of them head toward the area where Hiraku planted fruit trees. While sitting there and drinking tea together, they casually chat. I'm thinking about growing walnuts in the future too. By the way, Lou, your tea is amazing. But honestly, I'm craving green tea. Suddenly, the danger bell rings again. When they rush over, they discover another girl standing there. Hiraku immediately thinks, this situation feels strangely familiar. The girl begs for help, and as soon as Hiraku helps her, she uses magic to completely heal and clean her body. Magic really is amazing, isn't it, Lou? But then Hiraku notices Lou trying to run away. The girl immediately shouts, "Where do you think you're going? Come with me!" The moment she says that, all the pets instantly pin her down. In the next scene, everyone gathers inside the house. Both girls look extremely tense. The new girl asks Lou, "Who exactly is this man?" Lou calmly replies, "He's my husband." The girl becomes completely shocked. "Wait, seriously?" Hiraku awkwardly responds, yeah, she's telling the truth." Then the girl introduces herself. "My name is Tia, and I'm an angel." Hiraku asks, "Why is an angel like you chasing Lou?" Tia explains that Lou once destroyed an entire town, and there's now a reward for capturing her. Hiraku asks Lou directly, "Did you really do that?" Lou quickly explains, "None of it was my fault. Those nobles were forcing me to create medicines and drugs against my will." Tia angrily yells at her, "How could you do something like that?" Lou lowers her head. "I'm sorry. I think I made mistakes too." Tia then notices something strange. "You seem different now. You weren't like this before. Did something happen to you?" Lou smiles and says, "Yeah, I learned how to accept my mistakes after fighting all these dogs." After that, they all head outside together and begin showing Tia the fields. But the moment Tia meets Zabuton, she instantly faints from fear. Later, Lou says, "We're about to harvest vegetables, so you should help us too." They arrive at a cabbage field where Hiraku cuts a cabbage and tells Tia to try it as well. Tia easily cuts one herself. Hiraku then asks, "Want to eat it?" He carefully washes the cabbage, adds salt on top, and gives it to her. The moment Tia tastes it, she absolutely loves it. "All these vegetables were grown naturally by me, so they taste amazing." By evening, everyone becomes exhausted from harvesting. Then both girls use magic to instantly clean and fix their clothes. Hiraku watches in amazement. "I wish I could do that too." Lou keeps insisting that Tia stay with them. "My body can't handle all this work alone, so please stay here." Eventually, Tia also starts living with everyone and helps a lot with harvesting. When Hiraku returns home after work, he notices that there are even more puppies than before. These families just keep getting bigger and bigger. At this rate, this house won't be enough anymore. So he builds a separate dog area where all the dogs can comfortably live. Then he notices that Zabuton's children have also left to begin their own journeys. Later, Tia comes to Hiraku and says, "I want to leave now." And after saying that, she departs. A long time passes, and when Tia finally returns, she brings many elves with her, all of whose names start with the letter L. They ask Hiraku, "Can we stay here too?" Tia explains that they used to live in a northern village, but because of human wars, most of their people died, and only a few survived. One elf named Leah says, "Unless we find a proper place to live, our population will never recover. Please let us stay here." Everyone begins discussing whether or not they should allow the elves to remain. Then Leah reveals, "I'm the oldest here. I'm 400 years old." Another elf says, "And I'm the youngest. I'm only 300. After hearing everything, Hiraku allows them all to stay. The elves become incredibly happy and thank him repeatedly. However, the moment they meet Zabuton and the dogs, every single elf faints from fear. In the next scene, all the elves begin working hard to settle into the village. They even start building toilets for themselves. But suddenly, they become shocked after seeing Hiraku cut down a gigantic tree with a single strike, even though the tree was stronger than metal. Looking at everyone, Hiraku says, "These elves completely took over all the construction work here." And within just 10 days, they managed to build an enormous mansion. The moment Hiraku enters the house, he realizes just how massive it truly is. There's even a huge dining table where everyone can comfortably sit together and eat. Looking at everyone from above, Hiraku quietly thinks, "I hope this house becomes a place where everyone can live peacefully and safely." The next day, the elves are casually working around the village. Some of them are even eating raw garlic. Hiraku gets shocked after learning that elves can eat meat and even use fire magic. He starts telling Leah all the things he believed elves were incapable of doing. Leah simply laughs and says, "If we lived according to your imagination, we'd never survive in this forest. We'd all die." At that moment, Hiraku finally realizes that the elves of this world are unbelievably strong. Leah then tells him, "We can also handle mining and blacksmith work for you." After heading outside, the elves build a furnace under Leah's instructions. There, they melt iron and create a giant cooking pot that Hiraku absolutely loves. "We spent 200 years away from our home, so doing work like this is easy for us. The only thing we failed to do was settle down and reproduce." Then she casually says, "Leave those matters to me." Hey, what kind of conversation is this? In the next scene, everyone finishes their work and heads home, but then one elf suddenly says, "We can use this to make bread. Can I try making some?" After that, all the elves start baking bread together. And once the bread is finally finished, everyone tastes it and realizes that it turned out incredibly delicious. Hiraku couldn't help but admit it himself. This bread was seriously good. Then a thought suddenly crossed his mind. If we can make bread this easily, maybe I should expand the wheat farm even more. He looked toward Lu. "By the way, Lu, can you tell me something? Does this land actually belong to someone?" Lu calmly replied, "Technically, this area falls under the Demon Lord's territory, but nobody really owns it." "The Demon Lord? And you're only telling me this now? What if he turns me into minced meat?" Lu laughed softly. "You don't need to worry. Everything here was built by your own hands, so this place belongs to you." Meanwhile, everyone inside the house was talking about Hiraku himself. Tia sighed and said, "That human is full of surprises, but he seriously knows nothing about this world." To all of them, Hiraku seemed unbelievably innocent, but while everyone was discussing him, Hiraku was peacefully sitting in his room crafting a wooden cup. "Oh, right. I never finished the waterway yesterday. I'll complete it tomorrow." The next morning, Hiraku headed out to continue his work. But suddenly, Zabuton appeared and introduced him to a giant queen bee. Looking at her weak condition, Hiraku thought, "She doesn't seem dangerous at all." So instead of attacking her, he built a shelter where she could safely create her hive. 10 days later, the place looked completely different. The hive had grown enormous, and countless worker bees were flying around non-stop. Even Hiraku was shocked. "That queen bee is huge, and the workers are tiny. If I leave them alone, does that mean they'll start producing honey?" Right at that moment, Tia arrived. But the second she saw the giant swarm of bees, she instantly ran away, screaming, "I'm pretty sure this girl has some serious issues." Elsewhere, Hiraku had dug out a massive pit. Lu curiously asked, "What exactly is this?" "I'm building a reservoir. I planned to bring river water here a long time ago, but I got too busy and forgot. Today I'm finally finishing it." Now Hiraku faced another problem. What should I use to build the waterway? Stone? Lu shook her head. "Stone is extremely hard to find around here." "Then maybe wood?" "No way. One small hole and all the water will leak out." Hiraku smirked. "Then I guess I'll use this." Using his almighty farming tool, he instantly created an earth structure harder than concrete itself. The elves handled the foundation work while Hiraku strengthened the entire structure. Piece by piece, everyone worked together until finally, the entire waterway was complete. Finally! No more carrying water from the well every single day. But suddenly, Hiraku noticed fish flowing in with the river water. "Oh, free food delivery too?" Unfortunately, the celebration didn't last long. A giant fish suddenly jumped out and attacked him, but with one swing of his tool, slice, the fish was instantly cut apart. Later that night, Hiraku cooked the fish for dinner. The moment he tasted it, his eyes widened. "This is amazing!" Tia and Lu tried it too, and they loved it just as much. Soon all the elves gathered around wanting a taste for themselves. Standing near the rice crops later, Hiraku frowned. "I don't think these plants will grow properly in the soil." Then an idea struck him. "All right then, let's make a rice paddy." The others stared blankly, completely confused, so Hiraku demonstrated it himself. He cleared out a large area and filled it with water. Tia immediately grinned. "Oh, I get it. You're planning to raise fish in here too, right?" "No, that's not the point." Then Hiraku gathered everyone together. "I'm going to need all your help." Soon all the elves stepped into the water. Hiraku instructed Lu to plant the rice seedlings and everyone got to work. A few days later, the rice fields had fully grown. I don't know whether this happened because of the water or because of my almighty tool. Once the crops matured, they harvested the rice and laid it out to dry. Hiraku explained that he had learned this entire process from a TV show back on Earth. Then, using his tool once again, he created a threshing machine right in front of everyone. The elves were completely stunned. After cleaning and processing the rice, they finally had proper rice grains ready to cook. Lu and Tia excitedly asked, "Can we eat it now?" Not yet. Hiraku placed the rice into a pot while Lu used fire magic to heat it. A little later, freshly cooked rice was finally ready. "Now can we eat it?" "Hold on." Hiraku quickly shaped the rice into rice balls for everyone. The second the elves tasted them, their eyes lit up with excitement. They devoured every single rice ball instantly. Unfortunately for Hiraku, he didn't even get one. Looks like he'd have to make another batch. After another long day of non-stop work, everyone was exhausted. The elves simply used magic to clean their clothes instantly. Watching them, Hiraku sighed. "I really wish I had a proper bathroom." Soon he gathered everyone together and started explaining the concept of baths while drawing a rough blueprint. "You can relax and wash comfortably inside." One elf tilted her head. "But we can just bathe in the river." "Yeah, until winter freezes you solid." Hiraku crossed his arms confidently. "Trust me, baths are incredible, and I'm building one." Soon construction began. First they built a furnace to heat water, then they added water channels and a massive bathtub. But Hiraku suddenly realized another issue. All the dirty water will flow back into the river. That's when Tia suggested something unexpected. "You could use slimes. They'll clean the dirt and purify the water." Not long after, Tia returned from a nearby village carrying several slimes. Hiraku placed them inside a purification pool he had created himself. The slimes instantly began cleaning the dirty water. I even put some inside the toilets too. Finally, Hiraku could relax, knowing both the waste and dirty water problems were solved. While gathering firewood to heat the bathwater, Hiraku suddenly noticed a mushroom nearby, and immediately he panicked, because he had absolutely no idea which mushrooms in this forest were poisonous. Later, Hiraku proudly announced, "All right, time for bath lessons. First, you change clothes, then you wash yourself like this, and finally relax in the bath." The girls stared at him blankly. "We still don't understand." "Can you show us?" Seriously? With no other choice, Hiraku demonstrated everything step by step: how to change clothes, how to pour warm water over yourself, and how to soak properly inside the bath. The moment the girls entered the hot water, their expressions completely changed. "Whoa, this feels amazing. It's been so long since I've had a bath like this." Then Hiraku casually invited everyone else to join too. Big mistake. The elves immediately started undressing and climbed into the bath together. "Wait, somebody let me out of here." The girls only laughed harder while teasing him nonstop. "Can't we all bathe together? It'll save hot water too." "I mean, you're not wrong, but this is seriously embarrassing." Completely overwhelmed, Hiraku finally declared, "That's it. I'm building a separate bathroom for myself." The girls instantly protested. "Nope, absolutely not. We're bathing together with you." The next morning, Hiraku walked outside expecting a normal day, but the mushrooms he had been trying to grow had finally sprouted. Nice. They actually grew. But before he could celebrate, he suddenly noticed several unfamiliar elf girls standing nearby. Hiraku blinked in confusion. Who are they?" Leah stepped forward and explained. "They used to live in our village a long time ago. We got separated from them, and we haven't seen them for over 200 years. The new elves nervously bowed their heads. "We heard about this place, and we were hoping we could stay here too." Hiraku smiled immediately. "Of course, you're all welcome here." Leah clapped her hands confidently. "In that case, our first mission is upgrading Hiraku's house." The new elves instantly raised their hands. "We're ready to help too." And just like that, everyone jumped straight into construction work. Meanwhile, Kuro sat nearby watching everything quietly. Then he began thinking back to his past. "Before coming here, I wandered alone through the forest. I never lost a single fight." His voice became softer. "But after meeting Hiraku, I finally gained something I never had before: a name, an identity. My name is Kuro." He remembered traveling through the forest with a female companion who was carrying their future children. But during their journey, they encountered a terrifying grappler bear that badly injured them. It could have killed us, but somehow we survived. And then they met Hiraku. He gave us food, shelter, and even names. Kuro still couldn't believe it himself, that human defeated a monster powerful enough to destroy us, all by himself. Kuro explained that they never intended to fight Hiraku in the first place, so we chose to accept him as our master. Then he revealed the truth. Our master still doesn't realize this, but we're not ordinary dogs. We're inferno wolves, one of the most dangerous species in existence.